The man opened his mouth wide at the skates to finally see the decayed tooth that was making his life hell. He knew there was no dentist on a deserted island, but the pain in his tooth was so severe that he couldn't eat, and if he didn't treat it, he might die from it. So to get rid of the problem, the man grabbed a skate and shoved it between the cavities, then reached for a rock. The tooth flew out of his mouth and the pain was so great that the man fainted. Because of the plane crash, Tom and 6 other couriers were stranded on a deserted island. In order to survive, he picked all the coconuts on the island and drank them when he was thirsty and ate their meat when he was hungry. But in a few days the coconuts were all consumed. The man had no choice but to put all his hopes on the courier. When he ripped open the first delivery, the food he expected didn't show up, but a bunch of useless tapes. The second delivery was a divorce decree, and the third delivery, to Tom's dismay, was the latest model of volleyball. For Tom, who was starving and struggling to survive on the island, it was as useless as garbage. But when he opened the fourth delivery, Tom's luck finally got the better of him. It was a brand new pair of ice skates, and the sharpness of the skates could greatly increase Tom's ability to survive. He picked up his skates and easily peeled open a coconut. The fifth delivery was a woman's leather skirt, but when he saw the black silk on the hem, Tom's eyes suddenly lit up, and he put the skirt aside, intending to go on to the last delivery. But then the pattern of the angel's wings on the delivery was very clear. Stopped him in his tracks. He wanted to give himself a chance to survive. Tom made a small fishing net out of black silk. This was his first bite of protein in 6 days. But after just 2 chews, the taste in his mouth was already making him question his life. Tom sharpens another branch to catch crabs in the crevices. But the snotty crab sashimi is too much for him to eat. Tom realized he needed a fire to survive. So he began to follow the example of the ancients by drilling for fire. But how could he, a modern-day elitist, have this skill? He tore up the divorce papers and used them as a fire starter, then drilled from day to night and night to day. His hands were blistered, so he had no choice but to find another way to continue his life. But the stick in his hand suddenly snapped and Tom's palm was punctured. In a fit of anger, he threw away the stick and kicked the delivery at his feet. Even the billiard balls were thrown away. When Tom calmed down, he had to accept this reality. Alone on a deserted island, if you give up on yourself, it's no different from giving up. Tom simply bandaged his wounds and picked up the thrown sticks when he looked down and found the volleyball rolled aside. Perhaps unable to bear the loneliness, Tom drew eyes and a mouth on the volleyball and named him Wilson. Then he set him aside and continued to try to start a fire. At that moment, a sudden burst of smoke came out. Tom froze and quickly leaned down and blew a mouthful, and 2 mouthfuls of flame came out. Tom squealed with excitement. He felt like a human being again. He danced around the fire. He finally did not have to face the darkness of the night. The flame not only increased his chances of being found by the cruise ship, most importantly, he could finally eat a delicious seafood dinner. Tom eats the crab and talks to Jolson. The volleyball is Tom's only companion on the island, even though he can't speak.